Hey folks, welcome back to another Being 42 episode. Apologies, we missed last week, round three, and we're very late with this one. So we're going to try and bang through this super quick. And Beaver in town, how you going, mate?
Good, buddy. It's a bit of a shame that work gets in the road of the footy, but things you do to pay for your beer, right? So.
Well, that's right. We've got to pay for our gambling addiction somehow, and that's the 9 to 5 jobs we got. So. All right, well, we're going to jump straight into the games. The Titans are kicking off in about an hour's time. Coverage starts. And Titans at $1.31 and the Tigers $3.50. I don't know how anyone could be a favourite in this when both teams just stink.
Well, the Tits were really good for the first half last week, and then the Viagra wore off, and they were hard no longer. So you got to think they're going to bounce back this week, though, right? I mean, the Tigers just can't seem to beat anyone, right? And they're missing their good young front rower, Stefan Utomanu, if I pronounce that correctly. And he'll be a big loss for them, right? Because he's a really good go-forward guy out for the next 8 weeks. So I think the Titans will win this one by 8 points. Kind of close-ish, but I think the Titans will lead from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, well, I think that's got to be the case. If the Titans are any sort of chance of finishing anywhere near the 8, they have to win this game. There's a couple of changes, though. Their new recruit, Asako, went at fullback for Campbell, who's injured, and a couple of COVID cases with Sani and Louis out, replaced by Corey Thompson and Wallace. For the first time, Titans have got a little bit of depth. That's some okay players to come in to fill in. So
well, I think that's a good thing. I like Asako instead of Campbell.
Yeah.
I think honestly, he'll be much more solid, better defensively. So I think that's a better in for you, more balanced.
I agree. So look, I'm actually going to go for a bigger win. I reckon we've got them by 12, and I've got a few random in-game multis on that. Hopefully one of those will pay off. And just the other thing on this too, I'll be interested to see how Peachy plays, because he'll be wanting to stick it to the tip for letting him go as well. But he's gone to a worse team, so sucks to be him.
No, he's a flog.
Okay. All right. Go into the early game Friday, and we've got the Sharks at $1.45 v the Knights at $2.75, and the Knights going to be without their thug Barnett.
Yeah, Barnett 6 weeks. I think he got a bit lucky with 6 weeks. So I probably would have given him a couple more. But look, this will be a decent game. I think that the Knights missing a couple of guys up front might be the difference. Just think that the Sharks probably, they're playing at home as well. So I got the Sharks winning this one by 8 points. I think it won't be that tight, but it'll be a low scorer, right? So I'm backing like 20-12 or something like that.
Nice. I like the specifics. I agree with you. I think Sharks might sneak home by 4, though. I just think Ponga should be back. He'll be wanting to prove everyone that he's good. Clifford's been playing some good footy, which is great. And there's a few changes in the backs for the Sharkies with Connor Tracy and Ikavalu out, and Mulatalo filling in. That's great. But Talakai in the centres, that just seems really odd to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, defensively, he should be okay, right? And to be honest, they've probably been the best player. They've had a few good players, the Knights, right? But certainly their centres, Gagai and Best, been pretty good, right? So trying to shut them down is going to be important for shutting down the Knights, I think.
Yeah, agree. So I got Sharks maybe winning by 4. And then the late game should be a beauty. Panthers v the Rabbits. Panthers $1.39, Rabbits and 3. And gee, the big out for the Panthers is O'Sullivan, and they've only got Cleary coming in to fill in. What do you think?
Yeah, correct. I looked at the teams and thought, well, Cleary's back. Yep, that's a cert, right? Give it to the Panthers. Then you look through the rest of the team. They're actually down on quite a few forwards, though, right? Penrith, right? You're seeing Martin, and I know Martin and Fisher Harris are named in the reserves, so maybe they're a chance of coming back, right? But if they don't play, I think it could be a much tighter game, right? So I've still got them winning, the Panthers. So Panthers to win this one by 4 points.
I actually think that the Panthers will win this pretty comfortably by 10. I just think with Cleary coming back, they're just going to be such a good team. Maybe he'll have some rust though, and maybe that's something I'm not predicting. So from a great game on late Friday night, we're going to the early game Saturday. Broncos and Warriors. Warriors at 2:35, and the Broncos at $1.60.
If ever there was a day that you wanted to take the missus out for the day and make her think that you prioritise her more than the football, this is the day when you look at these three games. I think the Broncos will get this one. Adam Reynolds, I think they didn't perform very well last week, the Broncos, right? The Cowboys were sensational, right? But I just got a feeling that they'll bounce back this week, and Reynolds will have a big game, right? So I've got the Broncos winning this one by 7 points, including a Reynolds field goal.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the Broncos will be pretty comfortable, somewhere in the 8 to 10 points. Big concern though. They've got to travel all the way to Redcliffe. That might be an issue for them.
Yeah, correct. Can you imagine the stands? It'll be full of Broncos supporters still, right? So it'd be like a home game for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, alrighty. And then I don't think this is a shocker. So we've got Manly v the Raiders as the middle game on Saturday. Sorry, just waiting for the odds. Manly $1.45, Raiders $2.75.
Yeah, look, Manly just got home over the Dogs last week. The Dogs showed some spunk, which was good, and the Raiders, we know what they did 40, right? Coming home and turkey slapping the Titans. So I think Manly's just going to have a bit too much in this one. I think that it will be a tight one, but I think Manly will end up edging them by 6 points.
Yeah, I think the Raiders got super lucky that the Titans just completely collapsed last week. I think Manly will put a fair few on them. I reckon I got Manly by 14. No real significant ins or outs for either team. So
No, and Tommy T hasn't really done much so far this year, right? So maybe he's time to go off.
Yeah, probably due. And then the late game on Saturday. Talk about role reversals. You've got the Cowboys in second playing the Roosters in 13th. The Cowboys $2.75 and the Roosters $1.45. I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, well, let's see where they are around 24, right? Look, the Cowboys showed a bit last week, right? So good on them. But I don't think they'll be able to do it again. You know what? The Roosters they just seem to be lacking a bit, Crichton coming off the bench. Maria Hargraves looked a step slower. This could be I'm predicting the end for the Roosters, but they'll still make the top 8, of course, right? But they're not a chance of winning the competition this year. So, but in this game, I've got the Roosters winning it by 4.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Roosters by 6. But I wonder too if they tried to take too much emotion out of that game last week. But Hargraves was just a shell of a man. And to me, that's the game where you want him going up, just smashing everyone he can. He might take it out on the Cowboys.
Yeah, maybe, right? So, and Robbo knows more about his team than we do. So, he might be. He might end up rotating the boys to make sure he doesn't peak JWH too early in the year, right? He knows when the right time of year is to rise. So let's see.
Yeah, you certainly don't win the premiership in March. And look, just something on the Cowboys. I thought Val Holmes had one of the best games he's had in 2 years. That was
sensational.
A really, really good game. So good on him. But I'm tipping.
And they're two back rowers. They look good things for the future, eh? Good signs for the Cows.
So why did they sign the dude from the Tigers?
Leilua. I know. I don't get it, right? Maybe one of them can play lock or move up front, right? So, but to be honest, I mean, you don't win the premiership with 13 players anymore, right? So you need to have guys who come off the bench who give you the same as what you had, in your starting 13. So, but I wouldn't have signed Leilua either, right? But of course he's desperate to get out. of those loser Tigers.
Yeah. No, and power to him as well. So, all right, we'll go to the early game Sunday, and we got the Storm v the Dogs. Storm at $1.18 versus the Dogs 5. I can't disagree with that. I think the Dogs are going to get tailed up.
Really? If I was going to put some hard earned on, I would at $5. I reckon the Dogs are worth a sniff at $5, right? So certainly, if you look at the with start your own line, you'd still get pretty good money. Dogs with 12.5 start, right? So, look, Melbourne, they get back. Look, I just think. Whoops. Let me just get rid of this. Call came in. Bad timing. I think they got lucky with Nelson. I cannot believe that he got off on that suspension last week. I cannot believe he got off, and Jaden Sewer copped a week, and another stupid and another dodgy 10-minute suspend, 10-minute sim in, right? So, yeah. So, but I do think the Dogs are a sneaky, right? So if you ask me head to head, I'm going to take the Storm, right? But I think it'll be tighter than people think. I'm going to take the Storm to win by 8 points.
Yeah, and this is our season preview difference, where I've still only got the Dogs winning 5 games. This is not going to be one of them. I just think Harry Grant back at hooker and Smith off the bench is just going to be just way too good for that Dogs team.
Yeah, Harry Grant's a big in, isn't he, right? And honestly, how good was Brandon Smith last week, 12 days after having the hand operation? It's just ridiculous.
That was just wrong. So, sorry, I'm just looking for the line start here. The line is currently 14.5 with the Dogs. So
really, so I'll get even money at 12.5.
Pretty close.
I'm going to jump on that.
Right. I wish you all the best for your hard earned. You might have to stay back an hour tonight.
Hey, I'm undefeated this year in the betting, right? So,
yeah,
Palmer Bet keeps on calling me, right? So Clive Palmer, stop calling me. Ronnie Palmer, stop calling me, right? I'm not interested. So.
All righty. So we'll go to the last game of the round. Probably something that's got a bit of interest to you. The dirty old Eels versus the Dragons. Eels are $1.31 and the Dragons $3.50. I think that's what
I think that's short for us. Eels were good last week, right? Stepped it up. And I can't see why they'll stop again, right? So I think the Eels will win this one. Dragons will miss Sewer, even though he's cost us 10 minutes in the last 2 games. He's a good good player. I cannot believe we picked Jack Sefsky in the second row. That guy, I think, is lucky that you even have a contract. But look, I've got to back the Eels in this one. One, because I said they'd win the premiership this year. And secondly, because, well, they're going to beat the Dragons. So Eels will win it by 14, I've got.
Right. So this is where I'm going to go against you in this game, because I probably don't like the Eels. I think with Sewer not being in the bench for you, in the bin this week for you, where you lose all your points, you'll have a full complement against these guys. And I just don't rate them. I mean, they're a top 8 team, no question about it. The Eels are a top 8 team, but you get a bit of a glimpse at one of your boys here, you guy playing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good to get a chance, right? So, Gordon Ramsay not playing this week, right? So,
yeah. But my big disappointment's been Amone. He's really struggled, and Sloan hasn't really run the ball back either. So I don't know what's going on there.
No, I agree. But you know what? I think there's also a difference. They've had some games under their belt, and people have seen them play a bit now, right? They work a way to play against them, right? So, and they're young kids, right? So it's a bit like Walker copping all that shit because he can't defend. Yep, and I think his defense is shit, right? But he is only 19, right? So same with Junior Mono, right? So I think this year, look, they're never going to win the premiership this year, right? So they get 20 games under their belt. again this year. Get that experience. We're ready to win it next year.
Fair enough. All righty. So time for us to put in our tips of the round, mate.
Okay, so my bet is I'm taking, can't remember what I said, Dogs at 10.5 start, right? Dogs at 10.5 start, Parramatta minus 10.5, and Bailey Simonson to score a try. So, mate, I am paying $7.09. So my $50 will give us $355 back on my 3-league multi.
Okay.
Cha-ching.
Nice.
Cha-ching, right? You know what? I might not go to work tomorrow. I'll take that 700. I'll take it up front. I'm going to go to Cash Converters, see if they'll give me that in advance.
So I'm going to choose that the Dragons will cover the line at 9.5. I've got Fafita with David Fafita with an anytime try scorer, and the Storm to cover their line at minus 14.5. And that stake is $7.58, giving me a payout of $379.
Wow. Well, straight away, one of us is out from that Parramatta game, right? So hopefully we're both in it at that stage, and then we're certain to win.
Comes down to the Sunday game. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I hope your bets come home, and I certainly hope my bets come home, mate. So good luck for the weekend with your tips.
You too, and good luck tonight with the tits.
Yeah, man. All over it.
Take care.